And good evening and welcome to the Jackson Christian Eagles Show. I'm Coach Joe Holloway along with Brian Bullard and Coach Darby Palmer, plus a couple of exciting guests we're going to tell you about in just a few moments. And you want to be part of this, you can come down. We're at Hub City Deli, and we'll remind you that this comes to you via the Facebook page of Jackson Christian, and also produced and directed by Worthy Road Studios. Gary Lockhart is our producer and director, as he's always with us, and you can count on Gary. Plus, this show will be archived on the Worthy Road Studios YouTube. Brian, we've got two young men that I am very excited. Matter of fact, we could probably bring a truckload of young men up here. We had a great ball game the other night.
Yes, sir, and once again, we're thankful to be here at Hub City. And Coach, you mentioned it and you hit it on the head last Friday night. And we'll talk in detail about it. But really good crowd, really good atmosphere, and our guys executed and played hard. And fortunately, we came out on the right side.
We really did. The week we had some other sports start the week off. What a great tailgate party. And, it was football time in Jackson, Tennessee, when the Eagles brought forth through their line there and led by our great flag bearer. And that young man, I'm going to tell you what, we might ought to check his speed. I'd like to know what he runs the 40 in.
Well, that's a guy, I know who you're talking about. That's a guy we've tried to get to play football since he's gotten to Jackson Christian, and he probably could. He's a really good baseball player. But, yeah, Coach, you mentioned it as well. Let's hit on some results from some other sports before we really dive into football this evening. Our soccer team, while football was playing Friday, was in Gatlinburg at the Smoky Mountain Cup and had another good showing there, going 2-1 with wins over Unicoi County. Big win there, and then Corbin High School out of Kentucky. So proud of those girls, and I think we won it last year. And then a good showing there this year.
We played some tough teams, and we had some goals scored. And, of course, we used multiple athletes, but the scoring was balanced this year. And the team we lost to, they're ranked in their state.
Yeah, really, really good competition. Our golf team finished second overall in the Dyersburg Kickoff Classic, with Nolan Smith being tied for first, shooting a 72. So we're proud of those guys. And then last Thursday, we had a big elementary win over Harding Academy, and then following that game, our middle school team got a 20-6 victory over Harding Academy. So pretty cool to have your elementary, your 5th and 6th grade playing, and then your middle school turns around and plays. I think that was probably a really cool moment.
I've got to mention one guy because he's my interview buddy. Max Nash had a big fumble recovery, and somehow it got sent to me while I was on air at 101.5. We're proud of all our kids. Get out there and see them play. And I got to mention one other guy, Casey Justice. He shot a 74 in that tournament too, I believe. And if I could shoot a 74, I probably would quit golf, celebrate, and never touch my clubs again.
That's right, and those guys are good now. We're excited about them. Just left a little bit ago from school, and our elementary 5th and 6th grade team, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade team, getting ready to take on Fayette Academy. So push back a little bit because of the heat, but they're about to kick off and should be kicked off now since it's 7:04. So they should be playing.
And
so maybe we can get a couple
updates
from that.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
I'm proud of the volleyball team. I know Coach Humphreys, I think we've mentioned that, picked up her first win. And this is a very youthful program, folks. I guarantee you they are, the youngest program at Jackson Christian.
Yeah, they're in their first, official varsity season with their win over Clarksburg, and they're playing as well. Parking lot's full, so it's one of those good nights over at Jackson Christian with football going on. And then volleyball playing as well. So hopefully we'll get some
good
updates.
Night to go to church. But, boy, Thursday, I look at this, and I bet you got a ton of action for Thursday.
Yeah, go ahead and hit it because you got it off on our
Okay, well,
our
the middle
Facebook
school cross-country meet will be at 4:45. Now, that's at SGCMS. That one doesn't ring a bell with me.
I'm not sure where that is either.
St. George's, got to be.
Yeah.
Got to be St. George's. And then the soccer, the high school soccer is at Augustine at 5 p.m. High school volleyball also at Augustine at 5 p.m. And that night, our terrific middle school football team will be playing versus TCA at 6 p.m. And then the highlight of the week, Friday night, 7 o'clock. We got to travel, though. We're going to play on grass. No turf up there. We got to play the Peabody Golden Tide.
Yeah, and we know, and we'll talk to these guys about it and Coach Palmer about it, but we know a perennial state championship team. They've played for it. They've won it, and they've got some talent. They've got some size, and it'll be a really tough matchup for our guys, but a good test. Just as North Point was a good test, Peabody will be a good test as well for our guys.
They will be, and it's a very nice stadium. I would get there early. Now, I believe their bleachers are aluminum, so some of you may want to bring your, I've got one of those little Jackson Christian square pad seats that are good. You might want to bring your square pad seat. I do scout the concession stands, too, and they have a good one. Everything is located, restrooms and concession stand at the south end of it. And it's going to be another white knuckler, slobber knocker, whatever you want to call it. We'll play hard. They're going to play hard. We're well coached. They're well coached. Some of the coaches on their staff are actually coached in this city and county. Yeah. And, of course, like I said, they are usually great gentlemen, just like I was proud of our kids on several things. They picked up runners and people from North Point last week. I saw somebody actually congratulate somebody on something they did well. Didn't hurt us, but they told me, pat them on the back, gave them the, good game stuff. And this was all before the sportsmanship line at the end of the game. And so, folks, you can be proud of our kids.
Yeah, we've built a good, healthy rivalry with North Point, and we've been fortunate there for the third year in a row beating them. But all these last 3 years, it's been a one possession game, and we got a lot of respect for Coach Gold and his staff, and they seem to have that same respect for us. And so it's a good, what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get from their competitiveness, and guys are going to do it right between the whistles. And it was a good night of football.
Well, I have a lot of respect for Jack Patterson because he can throw the football. And a young man named Alford caught my eye. I forgot about him from last year because Callahan, who was their best wideout with 47 catches year before, does not play football anymore. He's gone strictly basketball.
Okay.
And we beat a good football team. They made the state playoffs last year. They didn't win it, but they made it. They had most of their team. They had more people coming back than we do. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about starters and things like that. And something we'll talk about with Coach Palmer. Our kids did what they had to do when they had to do it. And folks don't give me this stuff, well, they scored 2 touchdowns on us. Let me tell you something. Your defense really bowed their back when they had to.
Yeah, we had a couple stops, and most notably that fourth down stop. Really huge momentum swings in the game. And just, like you said, they moved it on us a little bit, but when we had to get the stops, our defense did a great job.
Absolutely. We're just about to run into the first break, and we're going to start with Coach Palmer coming in here to say a few words and talk about it, and then we'll end with it because we've got Peabody coming up. But we want to hear his thoughts, Coach Bullard's thoughts about what was a great ball game and tell you more about that. But be proud to be an Eagle. We're going to take a time out here at Hub City Deli and say, go Eagles. We'll be back after these important messages.
Great American Sports, make sports an addiction. Located at 125B Old Hickory Boulevard, East in Jackson. We specialize in teen sports for youth leagues, schools, and churches. We can embroider and screen print team uniforms. We also have sports equipment, Under Armour, and Adidas clothing, and anything else you need for your teen sports. You can email or call us for all your teen sports needs. Great American Sports, make sports an addiction.
We are back at Hub City Deli for the second segment of the Jackson Christian Eagle Show, one of the great prep shows in the entire country. We are glad to welcome our head coach and athletic director. I'm not used to saying the athletic director part of it, but he's wearing multiple hats, and of course Brian is one of the assistant athletic directors. Coach Bullard and I, it's kind of funny, you get to interview Darby instead of Darby interviewing you when you got the job and stuff. But anyway, Coach, a big win, because this is a school that, one, has more personnel than we do because they're a bigger school. They're in AA. Two, their kids, man, I was worried about it. I had to look up to even their running backs when I was down on the field, and even our big kids eye to eye. But and they're a little older than we were last week. I was so proud of our kids because we graduated a ton of skilled people, and I'm going to have to say a word about skilled people. Folks, I'll give you a little warning. Don't tell me or one of these gentlemen that our linemen aren't skilled players. Everybody wants to talk about the backs and the receivers. Well, linemen have to have skill too. But anyway, Darby, I'm going to let you start by just telling us an overview of last week's game.
Absolutely. You hit on it. We graduated 13 seniors last year, very talented class. And, a lot of people had questions about guys stepping up, and I think we answered that in game one. We showed a lot of maturity. Game one is always riding the highs and lows, and we did a great job at not flinching and staying the course. And guys did a great job of executing what we worked on all week, and we hope to do that again this week. North Point is a really good football team, great football program. Coach Gold does a great job, and when they figure it out, they're going to be very dangerous in their region, and they're going to compete at a high level with Lausanne to win it.
I think we helped them, don't you, figure out what they needed to do, because they tried every angle. They had more motion and what I call reverse motion in their offense, and then they even tried to run the little lateral pass and throw back to Patterson to let him throw one. But we really didn't get fooled. We lost a step or two, but quick recovery by our defense.
Absolutely. You want to talk about Coach Phillips does a great job with our defense, and, they ran that play on us 3 years ago. And so every Wednesday and Thursday we try to sneak in like tricks and gimmick plays that teams can do, and our guys responded well with what they saw throughout the week in practice, and I think they ran that the second play of the game off one of their counters when they get in their tight bunch set, and we did a great job executing in the secondary.
I thought we did too, because we gave ourselves time to recover, and I don't know. Only question I'm going to ask you, can I come and set up a scout team and run muddle huddle and center eligible against y'all sometime?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. We'd love to.
Coach, I'm going to turn it over to you because you get to see more film. I've been watching film, but Eagle Eye Bullard, the man that could hit the baseball down at Freed Hardeman, saw it all.
Coach, I'm gonna go with a Chase McLean nugget for you.
All right.
Got to get him involved. We have now won 5 straight season openers, which I knew 3 against North Point, but dating back to 5 now. And what do you attribute that to, and what kind of – just talk a little bit about preparation going into that first game.
Absolutely. It's so important, just like in anything, getting off to a great start, right? So we talked all summer about being 1-0, that 1-0 mentality, and we were able to live it out. And now getting back to this second week, it's time to be 1-0 again. So not really remembering what we did, remember the good things and the bad too, to correct it, but also, hey, it's time to go this week.
Absolutely. Austin coming off of, most folks know what happened, an injury that was a freak accident. His first really time to be live. And how'd you think he played? What'd you think he looked like in the pocket with his presence and all those things?
I mean, we flashed back to 4 months ago. We didn't even know if he was going to be able to play football. So I get emotional, and especially when I was talking to him and his dad after the game. I hugged his neck, told him I loved him, because there's a lot of people that don't understand the mental toughness that comes in with that, being able to come back off of facial fractures. And then, I mean, I would say one of the second or third throws, he stares down the barrel and takes a hit right on the chin and delivers a great ball to Jay. That's mental toughness right there. And he did a great job. He wasn't live all scrimmage. We didn't allow anybody to have contact with him. And, he steps up week 1 and does extremely well.
Talk about Easton Jones. What he brought on both sides of the ball. 10 total tackles is what we have for him. Talk about him and his impact on the game and how he can impact the game even more moving forward.
Absolutely. You talk about a kid that brings a lot of juice to a game. He definitely does that in our Eagle hybrid linebacker position with his speed alone. I think at a baseball camp this summer he got time, and you can go into more detail than this, as a 6'6", 60, which is moving. And he's got tremendous speed, not only on defense but also as a running back. Him and Deuce are a great tandem pair in the backfield, and they do a great job. And Easton was able to strike it and get to the edge on North Point's defense several times.
Trent Carrier, another guy that's in our secondary, senior, a guy that's played in big games for us, and I kind of say waited for his opportunity, and started taking over a lot last year. 4 total tackles, a big interception, and a big pass breakup. Talk about Trent. And what he brings to our defense and what he brings to our team.
Absolutely, and I mean this statement in a very positive way. Trent's a program guy, meaning that he's come up through the program. He's worked hard every offseason. He's changed his body. He's gotten faster. He's gotten bigger. He's gotten stronger. And then he waited his time, and then his junior year he kind of came on the scene as a starting corner, and now he's even grown his role both on the offensive side of the ball as well. So you love those program guys that are all in, want to do anything possible that they can to help better the program and lead the program. You talk about a servant leader on and off the field. You can't ask for a better teammate than Trent Carrier, and that's what we talk about in a lot of our program, how we can love, serve, and care more for each other. And if you're being a great teammate, everything kind of takes care of itself, and with Trent, that's definitely happened.
And I'll save these guys their numbers because we're going to talk to them here in just a minute. But Jay Mosley, just touch on him, he and Kai's contribution to the game, and kind of the reason why we brought him here tonight.
Absolutely. A lot of people will say with Jay, in his class, he's number 138 in the nation as a recruit. And he can change the game offensively and defensively. And what some people may not know is he did that a little banged up week 1 and had 157 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. So we're excited for him and his future on and off the field, but also trying to get him healthy and manage his workload throughout the week where he can get back to playing all 3 phases of the game. Kai Wyatt, you want to talk about another junior that just does things the right way, plays hard, works hard in practice, is a great middle linebacker for us, makes all the checks, makes all the calls up front, gets us in the right looks. Great leader on the field.
So we'll talk more about North Point with those 2 guys. Coach, do you have something you want to?
Just a couple of things. One thing, folks, go back and watch the film of the game on YouTube or Jackson Christian Facebook. One catch that Jalen made, outstanding. Reached out with a hand, finger tipped it back towards himself, and pulled it in like a great receiver. And that was one that Austin threw under duress and threw a good pass. And just he had to turn on the jets and do that. There are.
So can I break down that play for you real quick?
Yeah.
So you can see it. So that's one of our read plays, and I hope Coach Riker's not mad at me the next day. But it's off of one of our runs, and we have tags where we can read anybody in the secondary. So we tagged it where Kelly's reading that corner, and Jay got an inside release instead of an outside release, and Kelly did a great job staring down the barrel because they had a blitz on, and he got hit and did a great job getting that ball out to Jalen.
Plus, Jalen had to deal all night, even if 10 Bunches, I was told, was their top defensive back. He either guarded Jalen or he shaded you. He switched sides, whichever side Jalen was on. And even if he took the outside receiver and Jalen was in the slot, he was starting to edge off, and he'd edge off, and as they ran, he'd cheat. He'd stay just close enough he could get back to his man. And that's a great tribute to not only Jalen but our team. And then Daniel Green, I've got to mention, Daniel made about 3 really big catches. And sometimes you just don't see the big fella.
That's right. And being able to utilize that as a weapon, especially in the receiving game, we all know what Daniel does in our blocking game for us and gets our offense going. But being able to leak him out on some pop passes and some reads for him is huge for our offense and our further development. But at any given point, Trent will have big plays. Jack will have big plays. Mason Vaughn. You go down the list. It's what the defense gave us that night, and we were able to utilize Daniel.
Oh, it's absolutely. And don't be surprised anything Jack Collins does, because ask Coach sometime when you see him about Jack stealing bases and that speed. He's got different. Got to ask about one more kid, and then a quick final comment before we take our second break. According to my buddy Brandon Shields, Tristan had a couple of pancake blocks. Tristan Nash did. He's a young fella. It's his first year to really start and play a whole lot. He evidently pancaked. I only saw one of them, but Brandon says there was more than one. But
absolutely. So that was one of our question marks going into the year. We were starting a lot of sophomores in key positions, which is great for our future. But right now they got to develop and they got to hurry up and get along where you play as a junior, almost like you're on the field. And Tristan's one of those guys. He stepped up game one, had a great game. He led us with 6 pancake blocks on the night with our offensive line, and couldn't be prouder of Tristan and what he's doing.
No, absolutely. Either coach, y'all got anything to say before we take our next break?
Coach, just give us a minute of Peabody. We'll talk more later, but since you're about to head back to the elementary game, give us a little break down a couple insights into Peabody and what to expect Friday.
Absolutely, and I think anytime you mention football in West Tennessee and you mention Trenton Peabody, you think of state championship level football. They have a tremendous coaching staff. You know that they're going to be well coached and disciplined in what they do and what they're trying to accomplish. They have really good size up front, and so we're going to have to really work on that on both sides of the ball to neutralize that in our game. We think we can space them out, do some different things offensively that'll give us good looks to what we want to do, but also defensively, we know that quarterback's a runner, both quarterbacks that they have, so defending the quarterback run game, and they have a lot of good athletes out on the edge. So it's going to be a really good matchup for us. You know, our non-conference schedule that we're playing, non-region schedule, is extremely tough, but we want it to be tough to prep us to peak in late October, November.
I don't think anybody's got a tougher non-region schedule than the Jackson Christian Eagles. I've looked at schedules all over the state and things like that, and they have one guy that y'all can laugh at me. I've been having nightmares about Ace Meadows. That's a large young man. We've got to block this young man.
Absolutely. And so Ace Meadows, he goes both ways. He's an extremely talented young man. I think he's getting recruited by FCS level schools and D1 schools in the SEC. So, you know, anytime you face somebody like that as a nose guard and also a left tackle, we got to prep our guys for it. But we've gone up against SEC level linemen with Jesse Perry from MTCS. So we feel like our guys are going to be up for the challenge. But Ace Meadows is a tremendous young man and also a tremendous football player.
Yes, he is, and you're right, off the field. Shane Jacobs used to coach at Northside, and obviously folks that know I used to coach there once upon a time. Now, Tab Val, it's, again, Northside connection, and Jason Driggers, Humboldt, and Southside. So we're all familiar with each other. There are no secrets, and unless one of the security guards shoots somebody trying to spy on somebody. But it's going to be a contest. It's going to come down to skill and execution.
Absolutely. And anytime you play these big games, and I consider North Point a big game, you don't want to get too high, not too low. You want to own your 111th on the field, and it's going to be hot. So basically, just like any game, we want to make it tight and get it to the second half where we feel like we have a little bit more depth.
Absolutely. We want you to help us own that 111th on Friday night. Come to Peabody, get there early, cheer us on. And saw a lot of people. We appreciate watching the game on the field and had their cell phones watching it on the Facebook page of Jackson Christian. And please keep up with that because all our sports have different things put on there. Plus, we'll tell you, we got a play coming up later in the fall that we'll even keep you informed about those things. Darby, a last word, and then we've got to take that time out.
Absolutely, and I think you guys already hit on it, and we talked about it a little bit, but couldn't be prouder of our guys, the way that they executed on Friday. Not everything went our way, not every call went our way. That's football, that's life, but they did a great job developing that next play mentality. In executing and overcoming some adversity. And so I thought that was huge. We did a great job in our run fits. Our secondary defensively did a great job. Our offense clicked a lot at times, and there's some things that we need to clean up in our run game, but couldn't be prouder of our guys and how they fought through it, and we were able to come out with a win.
Absolutely, Coach. We're glad you're here. He's got to leave us for a few minutes now. You better be quick if you're going to the refrigerator or anything at home, because if you're not quick getting back in here, we've got one of the quickest men in the state of Tennessee that's fixing to jump into that seat, and you'll miss him if you don't get here quick. Coach, good luck. Better than that. Go Eagles. We're going to play football.
Yes, sir. Go Eagles.
We're going to take a time out at Hub City Deli. We'll come back with Jalen Mosley, Coach Bull, and myself after this. Had an accident and in need of repairs? If you're being towed, make sure the driver knows where to take it. David White Body Shop to expedite the repair process. David White Body Shop has been in business over 42 years. They have factory-trained certified technicians, and they are a direct repair shop for most insurance companies. They make sure your vehicle is repaired to manufacturer's recommendations. Always insist on the professionals at David White Body Shop. We're back at Hub City Deli with the Jackson Christian Eagles show, and the way Gary barks out signals, we may have to see if he's got any eligibility left and make a quarterback out of him. And I'm going to mention his name, and like I said, he's quicker than a hiccup, and if you don't catch him early, you're not going to catch him. Same thing with interviews. But, Coach Bull, I'm going to let you interview one of the two players that the broadcast picked for the players of the game. We picked Jalen and Austin Kelly. So it's on you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We're thankful that Coach Palmer stopped by and give us some insight. And one of our player interviews for tonight, and doesn't really need an introduction, but we'll give him one. Jalen Mosley, number 23. Let's talk about numbers real quick. And 12 catches for 159 yards, 3 touchdowns, 6 career, 100 yards receiving. And then that moves Jay into 7th all-time in career receiving yards. Jalen, let's welcome. And Coach Joe kind of hit on something. It was an up-and-down week of practice. You were in it a little bit. You were out. And that the leg injury nagging you a little bit. How did you feel, and how were you able to go out and put up those kind of numbers for your team?
Before kickoff, the whole week of practice, it been, whether I'm a player or not. And that game for me was really just a mental game of, just playing through and doing what I can, doing as much as I can for the team. And I feel like, when I went out there, I just did what I could do for the team.
And did the electricity, when you did get that first catch and all that stuff, did it light you up?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I thought he was going to get a speeding ticket. He's running so fast.
That's right. Jay, 3 touchdowns. Let's talk about the first one. Going towards the tennis courts down there. Austin finds you in the back of the end zone. Talk about your route there and what you saw from the coverage and kind of how that unfolded.
So that play, I had a post, and it really meant to set Daniel up. So I had to go before him and let him clear out and everything. But they followed Daniel, so it just had me wide open. And Austin, he knew what he read it. So.
And what's the chemistry like between you two guys? Y'all had a lot of routes and a lot of time together early in the summer, and then later in the summer you were limited in that. So. Is it a mental reps and you just trusting him, or talk about the chemistry y'all built together
with me and Austin?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Austin, my boy. We've been playing for a long time. So that week of practice it was mental reps for me because I couldn't do much. So I just watched and we talked after practice and we talked during school and stuff just about how the game plan is and everything that we needed to do and what his reads was.
So. Coach Joe mentioned this play, and it was one of the highlights of the night, the fingertip catch. Talk us through that and kind of how what was going through your mind, what kind of coverage you saw, and what do you think Austin saw from his perspective?
It was a man coverage, and me and Austin, before the play went, we said that I most likely was just going to go straight because it was man coverage. But he threw the ball, and I tried to catch it with 2, but my right hand wouldn't just go over there. So, just caught it one hand and took it to the house.
That's right.
I got to say something here. I thought you were fixing to do a finger roll layup in basketball. He did the coordination. His hand-eye coordination is wonderful between the two. Now, one question for the fans that they would like to know: you and Austin have to be on the same page. Y'all got to make the same read, or
Yes,
the
sir.
passing game don't work, does it?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Jay, talk about the atmosphere. Talk about the crowd, the student section. We're big on that, and I think right now more than ever, we got a bunch of students that are fired up for football, fired up for you guys. How does that help with nagging injuries, and how does that help with being tired throughout the game, and how do we kind of rely on them through some tough moments?
Our student section and fans is a big part of us because, it shows that we have support, and it shows that no matter winning or losing, there's people there to help us push through. And, it's nervous at first, the first game, just because it's your first time this season going out there and things. But after that first hit, it's game time. That's what it is.
And so, we talk about the fans, we talk about the game. Were you able to, we had Dynamics, who does a great job, and we can always plug them. There was probably 4 or 5 folks there from Dynamics, just kind of trying to keep you loose on the sideline. Did you ever feel like you were tightening up, or did you feel pretty good the whole game?
The coming out the game, starting the game, I felt good, and then it started getting tight and stuff, and I had to do different stretches and stuff on the sideline to loosen it up. But I mean, the whole game, I couldn't just go 100%, but I did as much as I could do. So.
Well, you could have fooled me. You're less than 100% is better than a lot of people's 100%. I got to ask this, Coach.
Yeah, go ahead.
Pickle juice or mustard? Which one do you use when you can't get to the training staff?
I'll probably choose mustard.
You
I
choose
just pickle juice
I'm with
is just pickles is just not it. For me.
I am with you, Coach. Didn't mean to butt in, but
No, go ahead.
People have been wanting to know which
That's
one
right.
he used. There's a lot of people following. There's these little guys that you and Kai are both heroes to those guys, and whatever y'all do, they're gonna do it too.
Yes, sir.
And but anyway, let's look at you up close and personal a little bit. You've been at Jackson Christian 2 years?
I've been at Jackson Christian for 5
5,
years,
wow.
I believe.
Yeah, 5 years. And your favorite sports memory while you're there, and you've got a bunch of them.
My favorite sports memory is probably when we went to the semi. It's a tie between when we went to the semifinals and then the playing in the MTCS game, the comeback for that game. It's between those two.
Oh, okay. Well, that is great. And is there a favorite moment in any of the sports? And while we're at it, correct me if I'm wrong, you run track.
Yes, sir.
You play basketball and football. Now, you don't do anything else. You don't carry the water or anything like that. You just play those 3 sports. Okay.
Yes, sir.
He's a multi-talented young man. But in any of those sports, you got a moment that sticks out above the others.
It have to be now in the TCA game, hitting the buzzer beater for the TCA game. That's one of the wildest moments in my life. So that's probably.
You also know one of the greatest calls were made by the man sitting beside you. Now, if you don't think he loves you and didn't get excited, then you need to go back and listen to that. And I know you do.
Yes, sir.
It was great. And that's the reason I love working with Brian in basketball. Now, you're kind of scholar. What's your favorite class?
I'm a big math guy. I love math.
You
That's
sure
my
do.
favorite.
Who's your math teacher?
It's Coach Watt. He's one of the football coaches.
Yes.
Yes,
And
sir.
do a good job. Favorite food?
Chinese food. I love Chinese
food.
Yeah.
Any particular, is it mugu gai pan or something like that?
Oh, my
or
favorite.
Just like the rolls and stuff, the different rolls they have.
In Jackson, my restaurant that I go to is King Buffet. It's by cookout and stuff. That's my favorite restaurant, and what I get is just noodles, sesame chicken, and stuff like that.
Okay, so what about sweet and sour chicken? You like that?
Yeah, I like that too.
Oh, you and me. But yeah, this is a good man. I knew I liked him anyway. We've covered the other sports. You got any hobbies or anything that people would enjoy knowing about you?
I like to play the drums. That's something
And I hear
love
he's a
doing.
pretty good drummer too.
I've never heard that. I'll have to hear
Yes,
it.
sir.
Now, we're going to let you tell everybody one fun fact about you that really most of the people, maybe your teammates know it, maybe they don't know, but what fun fact can you tell everybody?
Fun fact. I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, in my case, I have a fun fact that I have not drank regular Coca-Cola in 15 years, but I drink Diet Coke all the time. Do you have a little habit like that?
I don't know.
Well, what about a food? If there was one food that you just had to get
What?
hold of besides your Chinese food,
I had to get a whole. Okay.
yeah, or you just have to have it.
My favorite candy. I love cookie and cream Hershey bars.
Okay,
I
that's
can eat
what
those
I
all
was.
day.
I knew that about him.
Yes, sir.
And he, man, you don't want you guys keep it away from him because he'll eat the whole bag. And stuff.
I will.
Trust me on that. What's your favorite Bible verse?
My favorite Bible verse is Psalms 23 because it tells us about how God is and what he can do for you and just how he's a shelter around you and he's just everything you need.
Dalen, there's a lot of people wanting to hear you. And also, I know your mom is very supportive. Anything you want to say to Mom, Jackson Christian fans, or the public? Because we got people from other schools that watch
Yes, sir.
these tapes, too, and it's your turn to talk.
My mama, first of all, I love her. That's my mama. It's always love for my mama. Friday we play Peabody, 7:30. Everybody should come out, watch us play and watch us put on the show.
Absolutely. And I want to see it. Give me a couple of touchdowns now. I'm greedy.
sir.
Coach, you got any last word? And we're going to have to take a time out after any last words you have.
No, Jay, it's awesome to hear the difference. The first time we started doing this, real quiet and not sure of himself, but he's come out of his shell. He's got his confidence, and is a great interview, and a really good kid, and somebody that is has come a long way from our middle school days when I was having to get him out of trouble, and he was getting on teachers' nerves and all that stuff. But he's really matured, and we're proud of Jalen Mosley.
Well, he was just full of energy back
That's
then.
right.
Because I said the thing about 2 years, and I forgot because he had a great middle school career, too. I'm going to put him on the spot, though. Oh, he's saying, oh, Coach, you wouldn't do that. No, one day I want you to come down and sit in the studio with Mr. Butler and Mr. Hamilton and I on the Saturday Sports Roundup, and you can be a co-host too if you want to do that one day. Would you like doing that?
Yes, sir.
We're going to do that. That's the kind of – and he is young, and you're right. He's earned his stripes to be into the radio world. Great interviews. Of course, you better get ready for that. But, last – wait, I got to ask this one. Okay. I know you're a Tennessee fan, but you keeping your open eyes on all schools that are
Yes,
offering.
sir.
Can you lead the band like Peyton Manning? I want to see you lead the Eagle band.
I want to do that. I'll definitely try that. I definitely try that.
That will
I don't know if I can, but I do.
I think you can. I believe in this young man. See, this is the kind of reason you want to go to Jackson Christian School. Be part of the family atmosphere with our football team. You got great guys like Darby Palmer. You got Brian Bullard, who, like I said, I work with. Coach Reichert. I could go down the list all the way to our new coach, Avery Williamson. We got a great place to be. Now, we got to take a time out. When we come back, we'll have the unlicensed chiropractor himself, Kai Wyatt, coming on here, and more Jackson Christian School Eagle Show after this timeout. Whether you're relocating into Jackson or just wanting something new and different, call Kenny Sutherland with 5-Star Real Estate Services. He can help make your dreams become a reality. With over 20 years experience and helping over 1,000 families with their new home purchases, there's a reason that he is your new construction expert and home buying specialist. Call Kenny today, direct at 731-444-1164 or 731-661-9000. And I didn't pop the button, so we're back now at Hub City Deli. And Coach Bullard and I, Coach Darby Palmer was here earlier. You can hear this broadcast again as Paul will archive this on YouTube. And if you know how to navigate Facebook, I'm just learning this year how to navigate Facebook. Jackson Christian's got a wonderful Facebook site, and they have a Booster Club site. I believe this show will be kept also on the Jackson Christian Facebook, too. And you can see, don't look too long at me. My face will stop an 8-day clock on the 7th day. But Coach Bull's a good-looking guy. Kai here coming in. Kai holds the part. He plays unlicensed chiropractor on the football team. And when I say that, he's a man that he will hit you and he will rearrange your bones. And I can tell that Coach Irv's weight program has done this young man a lot of good, because I can remember how big his arms were when he started at Jackson Christian. I don't think I'd want to wrestle him or anything like that, but I am speaking to one of the nicest young men till he crosses the chalk line, or in our case, the paint on the football field. And Coach Bull, I'm going to let you take it away with a guy that rearranged bones on 11 tackles, not counting his assist.
Absolutely, Coach. Kai, moving to the defensive side of the ball after talking to Jay. 11 total tackles, 8 solo, 4 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble. Let's talk a little bit about last Friday night, and we'll hit on Peabody as well. What were some challenges? What were some things that we were concerned about that you were focused on as a middle linebacker going into the North Point game?
We knew that they were going to be a very physical team, and so all week, and especially right before the game, I was making sure that everybody knew that we had to come out and hit them in the mouth first, so we could just show them that we're the more physical team. And as we did that, every single time we came out for defense, I mean, you could see by halftime they looked like they did get hit in the mouth. And they came out and they weren't as strong in the second half as they were in the first. So it worked.
What does it mean for a team to, you got your front three, and those guys don't play much offense, and a lot of our defensive guys, they get to rest and talk about the previous drive and things like that. How does that play into the factor in the third and fourth quarter for our football team?
I mean, you can watch our game back, and you can watch the Peabody USJ game. I feel like our front three are just in. We have a lot of subs too, but we don't have to sub them in as much as other teams do, because we use our guys for defense, and they do their job better than anybody else can on the team, and they do it really good.
So 4 tackles for loss. Let's talk about the forced fumble. Huge play in the game, momentum swing. What'd you see, and how did that play out?
I got a late read on the play. I saw the down block from the guard, and I filled up, and the backside guard and tackle pulled, and I didn't see it until they had already pulled all the way around the line. So I'm coming in late, and as I'm seeing the running back break a tackle, I just see Trent Carrier flying across the field, and you can see it's on pictures from the game and stuff that Trent hits his right side, I hit his left side, and we're both punching the ball out and just hit him.
So a lot of times when we were watching film, and as a defense, I think this has been a major, major focus for us this year, is getting hats to the football. And I think most of the time we counted 10, 11 hats at the football when we rewatched the film. Is that something that you guys talk about? Is it something that you take from the coaching staff and those kind of cues, or years past we play hard, but you don't always see that 9, 10, 11 guys meeting at the football?
I mean, every time we go starting defense with scout offense in practice, Coach Phillips tells us in the huddle right before, fly to the football. That's it. We want as many hats to the football as we can at all times.
So what do you see, and that showed Friday night, and we're proud of those guys. What do you see from Peabody? Not our game plan and what we want to do against them, but what do you see from them and what you think they would try to do to us?
I see that they're a very big and physical team, and I feel like it's going to be in the same mind as North Point, except I feel like Peabody's definitely going to try to pound the ball more, and I feel like they're going to come out and try to hit us in the mouth. We just got to make sure we come out swinging first.
Yeah, we're 1-0. They're 0-1, a hard-fought game against USJ, and they're going to want redemption, We got to come out, like you said, and execute, and it is. It's going to be a physical game, and so I wouldn't expect anything less. Coach?
Kai, before we get into I call them the fun questions and stuff, how important is it going to be to not let the Peabody blockers get into your body and use those hands and stuff to keep them away from you?
Well, they are really good at when they get you, they're going to get you with their O-line. And so I feel like if I can't overrun a play, Eli Craig can't overrun a play, Brooks Goff can't, Easton Jones can't, Trent Carrier, Jack Collins, none of us can. Like, we all just have to make sure we execute no matter what happens.
We got each other's back, don't we? And y'all seem to be really communicating, or at least we did against North Point, quite well. And now, let's talk about some fun stuff, though, here. What's your favorite food? I'm going to start. Y'all need to see this. And like I said, Kai is a great example of Coach Irv's weightlifting program, how good it is. But I know you got a favorite food.
I just got to say chicken.
Chicken. What about school lunches? What do you eat besides chicken a lot at the school lunch? Because we have some good school lunches.
Definitely Crispitos and ham and cheese sliders.
Yeah, it's always good with stuff like that. Now, you've how long have you been at Jackson Christian?
This is my third year.
Third year. Okay. What about your favorite sports? Any sport memory?
Definitely Carson Holt hitting a walk-off grand slam to beat USJ last year in baseball.
Yes, I like that. I got to call that too. And that was good. And I almost was like Coach Bullard. Now, like I said, he made the call on Jay's buzzer beater against TCA. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't change a thing about that. He was the right man at the right time making that call. But what about football? Would you? And I'm going to add to the question a little bit. Would you like another shot at Nashville Christian's quarterback Curtis? And you can tell me another favorite moment. But you just look like a man that wants another shot at Curtis.
I mean, Nashville Christian, it's a great matchup. And I feel like we get in our heads way too much. I mean, it's a big semifinal game. And I feel like we're all too mental about it. Because Friday, I feel like everybody was relaxed. And we all played great football. And, I mean, you can tell when we go from playing just a normal regular season game to a semifinal game how sometimes mentally you can see that things are a lot different.
Now, if you had to pick one academic subject, I know you love athletics. You can tell this young man loves it. What academic class do you really like to go to?
Probably just math and science.
There are a lot of people like that math. Who's your teacher in math?
My dad is Coach Wyatt.
Oh, I know. I knew that. But you got to give him some credit. He does a good job. He's a good teacher. There's nothing wrong. My daughter had to put up with me when she was in high school, too, and he does do a good job. And I was going to question you off air if you'd said anybody but him, and he might have, too. But favorite food?
Just chicken.
Chicken. I asked it once, but I know that I was headed somewhere with that. What about pizza? You much of a pizza man?
No, sir, not really.
Not much of a pizza guy. Now, what other sports do you play?
Baseball and church league basketball.
Yes, and I haven't got to see him play church league basketball, but
You're not missing much.
Baseball, he's pretty good. He's going to be even better. And we're going to even go further. We had a good season last year. We're going to go further in baseball, aren't we, Kai?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's your hobby? Jalen had an unusual one. Sleeping was his hobby.
I like to go to the gym. I like to fish. Just whatever I can in my free time, whatever I feel like doing that day.
fishing's pretty relaxing, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And sometimes when you're an unlicensed chiropractor and you're hitting people as linebacker, you need a fishing day every once in a while. Actually, there's two last things, but what's a fun fact? What's something that people don't know about you? Now we found out Jalen plays the drums, but he also eats too many cookies and cream stuff too.
I don't really eat vegetables. Really just
I like this man.
really just eat protein. Try to
I
eat
like
as much.
this man. I don't eat vegetables either, but there is a reason I don't, and didn't like them anyway. But I'm allergic to every green leafy vegetable there is. But this young man is a good man. You like that meat, don't you?
Yes, sir.
I guarantee you. And he likes hitting people. What's your favorite Bible verse?
Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
And this young man really believes that. We have a tradition here, and Coach, before we let him have his final words, you got anything else you need to ask Kai? Maybe I left something out, because This is an outstanding young man. And if you see him, ask him about the weight program, because I guarantee you he can tell you all about it. But if you hadn't got anything, I'm going to let him do his thing.
Let him finish it up, Coach.
Kai, it's your turn to say anything, not only to Jackson Christian fans, but there are people from other schools. There are people all over going to see this show. Some are watching live now. Some will watch it archived on Worthy Road Studios YouTube.
I'd like to say thank you to my family members that are watching. And go Eagles.
Absolutely. I like it. Man, I didn't even have to prompt him. That, folks, was Kai White. Please come and watch him play. He wears 44, and you need to come. He may be 44 on the number, but guarantee he is number one in a lot of people's heart and stuff. And we will come back. Coach Bullard and I will wind this thing up and tell you a little bit about what's coming up, what's going to happen, give you some keys to victory and some things like that. But let's take our last time out here at Hub City Deli on the Jackson Christian Eagles Show.
This is Lee Johnson.
And this is Jason Lockridge from Southern Capital Advisors.
We're thankful for the Jackson Christian family and are honored to help lay a foundation that will build our community for years to come.
Welcome to Southern Capital Field, and go Eagles.
We are back for the last segment of the Eagles Show. Jackson Christian Facebook, also Worthy Road Studios, and Worthy Road Studios YouTube page will have this. Coach Bullard, we have gone with two fine men. We've mentioned a couple other names. I want to mention Trent Carrier one more time. But there's a young man that I want to mention tonight that we may need to talk about for a second or two, a young man named Eli Gay. He has done a good job, but for the folks that don't know, that young man plays with all heart because he's not the biggest center in the world. He's a good-sized young man. He's hit the weight room and all that. But this young man is all heart, and he's going to have to work hard this week too, isn't he?
Yeah, Eli's a guy that you turn the film on and you wonder how he played, and he's just steady. And that's what you got to have as a center, especially as a senior. And he does have his work cut out for him this week. But I mean, there's not too many weeks, Coach, that we're not going to have somebody really strong across from him. And so I know he's excited for the challenge.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know if you got hold of it, and I'm looking back for it. And Mary Nash had something. We had a couple of guys make Brandon's Beast. Tristan was one of them. I believe Kai did, but I cannot remember if we had a third one. That kind of honors linemen and stuff. You work with the line. I made one of my friends already, Coach, you made a controversial statement. Linemen have to have skills too. The wide receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks are not the only skilled guys on the field.
They do a great job, and they work hard, and it's nice for them to get that acknowledgement. And we're excited about our offensive line, and really excited about our defensive line, and going forward. And those guys played hard. And before we get too far into this, I did want to mention Coach McLean had our Twitter poll up this week.
Yes.
And 3 players nominated: Jalen Mosley, Austin Kelly, and Kyle Wyatt. And Jalen Mosley was voted as the Coca-Cola Player of the Week on our Jackson Christian Football Twitter poll. So we're proud of him, and that effort that he put up was extremely productive. But the defensive stops, the kicking game, the special teams, the preparation going into the game, the guys that are on our scout team, and giving us a look and all those things. There's so many things that you want to mention and want to talk about. But it is nice for Jay to receive that kind of individual thing that we'll vote on each week, and it brings excitement. It brings attention to our Jackson Christian Football Twitter, and where we'll highlight players and try to get those guys in the spotlight as much as we can. And like Kai did a great job. Great interview tonight. Still want him to be a little bit louder, a little bit more excited, but that's how Kai is, and that's how
he's also focused on Peabody.
Yeah, he is, and that's his mentality, and it definitely helps him on the football field. And last, I got an update from Coach Palmer when he went back. Our elementary team was up 22-0, so at the half. So they're playing well, and a lot of excitement. You talked about Thursday and all the activities that we have on campus, and it's buzzing right now, and we're excited for that. And everybody's working hard, and our football guys. We're battling the heat. You're inside. You move to a night practice. But it's across the state. It's across. Seeing stuff out of Arkansas and all around surrounding areas, and everybody's got to deal with it.
Yes.
And so it's not an excuse. You got to hydrate. You got to do what you're supposed to do.
It's not an excuse. I'm proud of y'all. Our coaches do as much as anybody I've ever seen to protect our kids.
Yeah, and that comes from Ethan and our dynamics guy, and he keeps us in line and makes sure that we do the best we can and have the most knowledge in front of us, and so we'll practice, and we'll get what we can get in and compete, and Friday we'll strap it up no matter what time, no matter where, and play football.
And remember, fans, we move it up. The football will be kicked off at 7 o'clock, pregame show at 6:30, and we are 1-1 against Trenton Peabody. Hadn't played them a whole lot of times, and the last time we met, I believe they were in their new field then. We won that one. Now, once upon a time, they played at historic Freed Field. A lot of people don't know this. TSSAA started right in Trenton High School, in Peabody High School,
Okay.
as A.F. Foster Bridges was the original executive director before Gil Gideon and them moved it to Hermitage, Tennessee. But that's irrelevant. What's relevant is our preparation, our execution, versus their preparation and execution.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to come down to. Kai mentioned it. It's going to be I don't like to use the term war, but it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a hard fought, hard hitting game, and we're going to have to bring it on both sides of the ball. And they were a couple plays away from putting points on the board against USJ. A couple fumbles, a couple turnovers, some penalties, and things like that. So they're over there trying to clean that up this week, and don't want to leave points out on the field. And we're cleaning up our stuff and some things that we saw on film, and so we're excited, and we look at everything as another opportunity.
Absolutely.
And you can only you can prepare and get as much in as you can, and then at some point you got to go over and play, and that's what we'll do. And we're I haven't been a part of this game. 2000, like you said, 2008 was the last time that we played them. So I'm excited about going to their facility. And
beautiful facility.
It's going to be a really good atmosphere. I'm sure the whole town will shut down and be there for that, and their home opener. So we're excited to get our guys on the field and showcase their hard work.
Absolutely. 7 o'clock kickoff, 6:30. You can watch it on Jackson Christian's Facebook, then see the replay on Worthy Road Studios YouTube. And we're going to have a great time over there. We're going to go and play hard. Get there early because some of the parking is limited in spots unless you want to walk a long way. Great concession stand. I've already given you the scouting report on that. But this is the rubber game. We're 1-1 against them. We're going to play a fine team. And I want to thank Coach for all the help because he is the best co-host anybody could ever have. Darby Palmer was here, Jalen Mosley, also Kai White, and all of you wonderful Jackson Christian fans. And, Coach, it's time for us to say thanks for your time this time. Till next time, good night, all.
The BallGame Blitz Sports Network by Worthy Road Studios. With over 750,000 views in 2022, we are where you need to advertise. Please subscribe to our Worthy Road Studios YouTube channel and join the other 4,000 subscribers watching local sports.
The Jackson Rockabillys, Union and Bethel Universities, USJ, TCA, JCS, and Peabody.
Our multi-camera broadcasts include slow motion instant replay, on-screen scoreboard and graphics, and professional announcers.
Thanks to the sponsors who make it all possible. BallGame Blitz Sports Network by Worthy Road Studios, the premier sports broadcast network in West Tennessee.